What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants. No hate. So, Chris Eubanks Jr., Connor Benn. Good fight. Both guys brought it. I feel like both guys brought the best out of each other. Now, this fight, to me, wasn't as close as certain people was trying to make it seem like. I had Chris Eubanks Jr. winning by a wide margin. And one of the things that I saw from the beginning, now I knew Connor was the quicker of the two on his feet and his hands. I already knew that. And I figured, what did I say, guys? Did I not say between the two? I said I was going for Chris Eubanks Jr. to win. That's who I was rooting for to win. But I felt like he would be able to hold his composure and stick to the game plan. And Connor Benn is gonna go in there wild. Did I not say that? Coming in wild, trying to attack, fighting off his emotion. And that's exactly what Connor Benn did. Every punch he threw, he was trying to knock Chris Eubanks Jr. out. He was trying to intimidate. He got to the point he was getting wild, throwing a bunch of sloppy punches. All this nervous energy, all this extra moving around. And I'm looking at him like, yeah, man, he's gonna tire himself out if he don't get a grip, because it's really not necessary. Like the way he was fighting, he had quick enough to get inside, but he couldn't muscle Chris back. He couldn't get in and rip the shots like he needed to. He was trying to outland him by lunging and leaping. And Chris would lean away. He would throw short chopping shots on the inside. And I noticed even when Chris would throw his jab, he would turn his head to where he's looking at his peripheral, and he would time it, and he would throw his jab and lean and come back with a quick uppercut or hook and those combinations. And what he was doing was let Connor come out fast. And I don't feel like Chris Eubanks was losing in earlier rounds. I feel like he was boxing smartly, but because Connor was more active in throwing, all these fast, wild punches that, I guess it looks impressive to people, but I bet you if you go watch that fight again, you'll say, yeah, he wasn't even landing most of them shots. And Chris was poised, and he was fighting. He was chopping at him. Kept, he was landing these little sneaky shots on the inside. And I watched him where he wasn't allowing Connor to back him to the ropes. Connor couldn't. Connor just kept coming in. There was a lot of clinching going on, a lot of rapid punching and stuff like that was happening. Now, what Chris Eubanks Jr. did is when he started to turn up more, he started walking Connor back to the ropes, and he was punishing Connor on those ropes. He was making Connor fight more than he wanted to. And Connor, I know, didn't expect Chris to push him that way. I know he didn't. And what Connor was trying to do, I'm pretty sure they game plan, let the much bigger man work himself. He's probably weight trained, and that's why it was so important for him to make that 0.5 ounces or whatever the fuck it was that he didn't make or whatever. But Connor Benn, basically, he had one game plan. That was just to seek and destroy. That was it. Chris stuck to his game plan, kept the jab working. He was throwing the combinations when he needed to. And I can see when Chris was getting tired, because his punches, he started to loop his punches and they were coming slower. But then he was just loading up and he was pushing himself. He was gritting, he was grunting. And I'm like, okay, he has more dog in him than Connor does. See, Connor was fighting back, but Chris was dead tired. And he was pushing and pushing and pushing and wouldn't stop punching. He went to Muhammad Ali mode with that shit. Like, I'm tired, but I'm not going to stop fighting. And that's what he did all the way to the very end. And they both fought back. And it got to the point where he was catching catching Connor. And I'm saying if he just timed his shot, he would have knocked Connor Benn out. He caught Connor Benn in the 12th round with a punch, and you could see Connor's flag. Connor was ready to go. And I said, if Chris take his fucking time and set that shit up right, he will knock Connor out. But he was going and just pushing and pushing, and he just kept going. And that made an exciting fight. And pretty much I had Chris way up, unanimous decision. I don't know where they get this. It was that close. I believe this is nothing but bullshit talk, because they want to have a second one like the fathers did, and they're trying to make people think that we saw something different from what we saw. That fight wasn't nearly as close as people said. I had Chris up by far. Connor fought back, and it was an exciting fight. Both guys came to fight. Now, the excuses. See, here's the difference. They don't like each other, but Chris was fueled to fight to win. It's personal, but I'm here to win. Connor is motivated by hatred, by anger, by evil. He can talk all the shit he wants. The emotions he have, I truly feel like if he would have gave Chris brain damage or something, that in front of people he probably don't want. We come to fight. This is not something I planned. It just happened. But I think inside or behind closed doors, he'd be celebrating. I just get that feeling about Connor, man. Like he's a very selfish person, and he's in denial. He's talking about what hurt more was Chris not making that 0.5 pounds or whatever the fuck it was, and this and that, and I was like, you know what, Connor, for someone who gets upset about the fact that they keep bringing up the fact that you're a drug cheat, for you to even try to resort to that little cheap shot doesn't make you look any better, because here's the reality. This man was drained. You could see the pace of the fight. You could see that he was tired, man. He was tired. And he wouldn't stop fighting. Which means that no matter how drained he was, he had more fight than you. He was talking to Connor the whole time, kept getting in his ear, talking to him. He was smart enough, like, yeah, the ref, referees, I feel like sometimes they just get too involved, man. Like, man, let them guys fight. They jawing off, so what? Let them fight. But yeah, he was in his ear all night long, man. And when I was watching, the post conference, and all this talk about I want my revenge. Yeah, now you're gonna stand up there and hug your dad and cry. All that shit. My son is gonna put it on you. My son is right. Yeah. Your son didn't get it done. And the whole thing about this was really simple, man. Chris Eubanks came in where this dude, you could see how big he was, right? You could see the size. They know that this is weight training. See, this is what I mean about a catch weight that's fair versus a catch weight that they want to put rehydration clause. They want to do like the things that people, all these different things that people want to do. But my thing is, I don't want to drain a fighter. If it's a weight I can't make, it's a weight that you can't make, we meet to where it's comfortable for both of us. And the thing is, a lot of times you really don't know until you go and make weight for that particular fight. You really don't know all the at times, especially when you haven't fought at a certain weight in years. And your body grows and fell out and you become much heavier. So, my thing was, even when Connor Benn popped dirty, when they were supposed to fight, some years ago, it's like Eddie Hearn and all them, well, Chris is ready to fight. No, stop it, man. Stop it. Rules are rules. You wouldn't say, man, I'm not paying this car insurance. The hell with that. Nah, I'm not paying these property taxes. The hell with that, man. I'm not paying my electric. No, the rules are rules. Simple. And even if a fighter is saying, fuck it, oh, you got plaster in your, oh, you got brass knuckles on your, oh, let's fight anyway. No, that's stupid. Even if that fighter went in there and whooped that guy's ass with the brass knuckles, it's stupid. And so the whole thing is, you were very less vocal in trying to make excuses for Connor, right? And as far as, Chris Eubanks Jr. not making that 0.5 or whatever the fuck it was, and, Eddie Hearn trying to make it like talk as if Chris did it on purpose or whatever. And they, my whole thing with that is really simple, man. You guys, like for example, when people talk about, well, the Haney's was stupid for letting Ryan get away with that, they should have told him. Okay, so here's the deal. Now you want to cry and try to play this moral victory bullshit, and not that you shouldn't be proud of Connor's efforts, because he did come to fight. But let's just be real, man. Let's not sit here and play stupid and try to play this game like he just didn't get his ass beat, like he just didn't lose to the better man. Because the guy that was actually weight drained still won and fought harder than Connor. Years ago, when they first talked about this fight, I said this fight is stupid. Because back then, Chris was fighting at 168 pounds. And Connor was fighting at 147. And I'm saying, I don't see the point. Okay, well, the reality of that is, Connor says, I think I can make 160. There's no problem. Eddie Hearn says he's more worried about Connor. I don't want to see him in those kind of fights. Those kind of fights take years off your life, right? They shorten your career. That's what he said. Did I not tell you guys before, man? Did I not tell you guys? These promoters tell these fighters this shit, man. You don't need this fight. They encourage. Listen, see, the promoter don't mind taking the heat, and they'll say it's their idea because they don't want the fighter to be accused of ducking. But I'm telling you, this is what they tell these fighters. And especially this generation of fighters. This is why these fucking fighters. I mean, you even saw, even in the movie Rocky, they're telling you in the movie, Rock, I don't need this fight. Rock, Clubber Lang will knock in the next week, right? They're telling him, Mickey, you said yourself that I got, you know, I still got it or whatever. And he's like, I won 10 fights in a row. Bombs, Rock, they're all bombs. This is what I'm telling you. This is what it's about. Eddie Hearn sat there and openly said that shit. This is the kind of fights that shorten your career. I don't want him to be in too many of these type of fights. That's what I'm telling you. Here's the deal. It doesn't have to be catchweights. It could be at 147. All you have to do is fight Jerron Boots Ennis. He'll probably get the worst beating of his life against Boots. Now, you heard what he said. He said, if he don't get the rematch with Chris, then he wants Mario Barrios. That's what he said. I mean, really simple, man. When we start looking at what fighters bring to the table, when we start looking at, you know, what these fighters are really made of, and we start making these fantasy fights up in our heads about who you want to see fight who and all, the one thing you got to keep in mind, man, is when it comes to these fighters climbing in those ropes, how motivated they are, we don't always know. All right? We don't always know. We don't know till they get in there. And my thing about what Connor was saying, you know, all this anger and at the end, all this emotion, we know he really wanted to win this fight. He, like I said, he don't want to, it's not like I'm saying he want to lose to anybody, but anybody other than Chris Eubanks Jr., okay? And so you see, this is the result of this is the you know the results of shit talking, man. When it backfires, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and promising the world you're gonna, you know, this fight would have sold regardless in the UK like it did. 60-something thousand people showed up for this fight because, you know, of the legacy that is and the lineage that is linked to. But what I'm telling you, when you do all this talking and then you go in there and the fight don't go your way, now you end up talking about, I'm sure I could get it done in a rematch and all this other stuff, and now you want to, you know, talk about who you want to fight next if you don't get this rematch, and you know, because right now what's happening with Connor, he's embarrassed, he's hurt, he's crushed. And he really thought in his mind that Chris Eubanks, he was hoping that he was going to be weight trained. And trying to make it sound like you got cheated or something, man. Come on, man. And then he's all, you know, I told him, you know, his father, it's so good to see you here. No, you were sitting here making jokes about it at the press conference, man. Talking about your own father don't even want to do with you. He was trying to be sarcastic, talking about, no, I mean, your father, you should have your father, and you're going to, you know, I hope you and your father work it out. But he was trying to be an asshole. And Chris wasn't trying to hear that shit. Just like when his father apologized for him saying he hated his father because he don't hate his father, this, that. But then it turned into, my son's going to put it on you. And he's like, so Chris wasn't trying to hear that shit. Now, for me, the best part of the night was seeing Chris Eubanks Jr. and his father, Senior, getting on that elevator. That was like, okay. And that's what I said, man, you know, come on, man. I don't care if it's the Charlos, whoever it is. You know, Wilder and his fucking brother, all these motherfuckers, man. Stop bringing your personal life, you know, to these cameras. These people don't give a fuck about you and your family. They'll instigate shit between you and your family. They'll pick sides and try to turn you guys against each other. Keep that family stuff home, just, you know, and you know, that's what it should be. And then too, it's disingenuous of Connor Benn. See, you guys I pay attention to what people say. He said, the most important thing. That was, was to see if him and his father gets together because of this fight. That's the best thing. What's boxing? What do you mean what's boxing? What's boxing? What do you mean what's boxing? It's the very thing that has you standing there crying at the end of the fight, holding your father, feeling disappointed. It's the very thing that made you show a whole lot of anger and hatred towards Chris Eubanks Jr. What do you mean? It's the very thing that you cheated on to be at your best. What do you mean what's boxing? I mean, I agree. I would never it's not about choosing a career or something over family. That's not what it's about. You got to earn a living. You got to make it in this world. But that's not what it's about. But when he says that, it's like, I feel like he was trying to just find something to say to try to connect with the people. But I don't think that he's genuine when he says that. I mean, even if a part of him is being honest about seeing Chris and his father together, I still don't buy it coming from Connor. It basically, to sit up, like I said, and say, what's boxing? And you're sitting up here crying. You could have just, I tried, Pop. I gave it my best, and he was just a better man. Nah, man, he stood there holding his father like a baby in his father's arms. Like your little son is a kid, and he runs in the grass and fall, and he's not really hurt, but he's scared. And then right? Or when your son gets tired, gets sleepy, and you're holding him, and he just wraps his arms around. That's how he was holding his dad. Now, I'm saying, bottom line is, to say what's boxing, but then to sit here and talk about how you want your revenge and talk like, you got cheated because Chris didn't make weight and all this other shit. Come on, man. You after you said yourself you could go to 160, it's no problem. Yeah. Now, Eddie Hearn, you got to eat this one. It's as simple as that. You talked all that shit. You promised. Connor Benn, his dad promised. Senior promised that he was going to put it on. My son is going to put it on you. Y'all did all that big talking. That shit backfired. And this is why I say, you can talk all this shit you want, but come fight night, you have to go in there and you have to put on and you have to deliver. And there's no need to act salty and sit there and cry. I mean, his face, you could see at the end of that fight, he knew that he lost. Like, he knew he lost that fight. Connor Benn had a look of disgust on his face at the end of that fight. Like, he knew he didn't do enough to win. And as soon as they get that decision, you could see the tears in his eyes immediately. Like, he didn't want to lose. Like I said, he'd rather lose to a 10-year-old child than Chris Eubanks Jr. And it's like I say to people, man, this is the hurt business, man. Come here to make your money, earn your money, entertain the fans by putting on the best performance that you can. And you win, you lose, you lose. Okay, I can understand. I don't take, like, I've never lost, and I've never felt like I couldn't beat anybody or put myself below anybody. There's certain things I might partake in. I'm not the best bowler in the world, but I love to bowl. I can hoop my ass off. Okay, I can bowl. I'm not walking around saying I'm the best basketball player. I don't need to be. I don't care to be. You understand what I'm saying? But I can hoop. I can play pool. There's several things I can do. I don't walk around like I just want to challenge everybody and everything. I do things for fun. I like to enjoy things. I'm not a hater of anybody. I'm not jealous of anybody for no reason. Okay? But when it comes to throwing these hands, fuck that. I ain't afraid of nobody or put nobody above me. Never have. That's, look, even when I hoop, man, I never back down from nobody, and people don't whoop my ass. I basically, only losses I've really gotten in basketball was playing with, like, team ball. But one-on-ones, man, I be killing motherfuckers. Even these big-ass 7-foot motherfuckers. Too quick, too accurate. You got to get up on me because I'm going to hit that J. I can hit from anywhere. So, you understand what I'm saying? Competitiveness, but also skill at what you're doing. But I don't walk around, I'm the best basketball player. I could beat any... I don't need to do that shit. I don't even care. But if I'm competing in something and this is what I'm doing for a living and this is how I'm earning my money, I'm not concerned with trying to entertain a bunch of clowns out there by saying a bunch of stupid shit, bringing props and stuff to the fucking stage to try to, I don't need to do all of that shit. And like I said, I seen a guy come in the ring. I might have posted that on one of my short videos. I'm not sure if I posted it or not. A guy coming there with his coach. Might have been his dad, I don't know, but they're in there dancing, doing a little dances together and all that shit, the crowd cheering and all that. Dude got knocked the fuck out, I think, the first round. So, I mean, it's like, it's like the focus is the focus. That's why I posted that video of Marvin Hagler training, and just let people see, like, this is what I'm talking about. That comfort zone shit, man. Man, I remember. Let me tell you something. I remember I went down south. I went to Georgia, Dublin, Georgia. I was younger, a lot younger, and I remember these dudes was down there, man, and these motherfuckers was jacked, right? These motherfuckers had buckets, and they was putting bricks in the buckets and taking bricks out to make it heavier, to make it lighter. Shit like that. Motherfuckers put like crates on top of crates. It had like a row of them. Rope them motherfuckers, like tape them motherfuckers up, and threw like this, like pillow cushions on them. Wrapped that shit under it, man. Stapled the shit. They was no luxury shit, man. They had, where they had the two trees, they drilled holes in the fucking tree, had a pipe going across, was doing pull-ups. There was no luxurious gym. It was, use what you have. And it was killing the calisthenics, man. Then they had this one big ass, like these big ass, like cement cylinders, and they took like a pole, I don't know if I think they might have welded it. I had it like somewhere where they were doing squats with this shit. It was like, bro, the last thing that you pictured is that's what they was doing to keep fit. You automatically would know what gym y'all go to, whatever. So, you know what I mean? And even before that, it's like, yeah, man, you use what you have. So, I used to do the same shit, man. Big ass rock and shit, man, and doing it as a kid. Because my uncles and them had weights, I wasn't strong enough to lift them. So I had to do what I had to do with calisthenics and all that shit. And yeah, and I came into my own and started to really get my own equipment and start doing shit. And I just never stopped. But what I'm saying is, man, like, shit, man, when I walked to school 8, 9 years old, I had a far-ass walk to school. Man, if it was freezing cold, if it was 5 degrees outside, better dress warm. Yeah, I was a kid. I wasn't on no school bus. When my mom had to work, my father had to work, we had to walk. If it was raining outside, better dress warm and bring your umbrella. If it was burning up outside, hey, leave a little bit earlier so you can walk. And hey, man, and we had to deal with that shit. We didn't have that motherfucker. It wasn't nobody getting no cryo chambers because you sore. No, we worked through pain. We know that we can fight through pain. We know we can fight. Come on, man. Muhammad Ali fought with a broke jaw. Are you shitting me, man? Even Pernell Whitaker fought with a broke jaw. Are you shitting me? And this is what I'm talking about, man. It's like that dog, and you refuse to not give your best. You refuse to just like coming in and be outshined. So if somebody beat you at your best, the most you can do, you should know I gave it everything. That's why you do film study. This ain't that stupid movie shit. A loss of a fight means a loss of a life to a samurai. So I'm going to kill myself because I lost a fight? Nah. But Aries, you never lost. You don't know what it feel like. Yeah, because I refuse to fucking lose. But goddamn, if I did, now you run it back. And I always say, if you're going to run something back, make sure that you can do better than you did the last time. Okay? And the thing is, the same way you can prepare to be better, your opponent can as well. And then you got some situations where some people is just a mismatch. I mean, there's a lot of different things you got to look at. Chris Eubanks Jr., they said it was contracted to have 2 fights. But I don't know. I don't really know what's going on, because like Connor said, if he doesn't get the rematch, then he wants to fight Mario Barrios. And what I think is going to happen in the next couple of weeks is that Connor Benn is going to get really even more sour. Like, he's probably laying in his hotel room right now, sitting standing at the ceiling, pissed off, crying his ass off. And I feel like they're going to make a bunch of excuses about weight. They're going to make a bunch of excuses about how what they agreed to. I think they're going to go into full bitch mode and try to, get the rematch. If they want to do it again, cool, whatever. If they don't. I don't really care, but personally, I think that's the way it's going to go. And I think through time, he'll start saying Chris is ducking him. He don't want to fight the rematch and all kinds of shit. And I think, like, you see the problem, it's like when Deontay Wilder said, I never thought I was the kind of person that could hate somebody, but be filled with hate. But I am now. I got hate in my right. Yeah. And then you're going to fight a cherry pick guy that's ranked 285 in the world. And the worst case scenario is you go in there and that motherfucker lay your ass out. Just go in there and have the worst night of your life and get beat by this dude. Bottom line, you know, him talking all this, he coming back for all the belts. Deontay's just running his fucking mouth, man. You know, Deontay's not going to be no different fucking fighter when he get in there. It's going to be the same shit. Talk. He probably go knock this bum out. And like I said, if this cherry pick goes wrong, we've seen it happen before, he will be the laughing stock of boxing. And all this talk about his age, nah, fuck that. Stop making excuses for this guy. You know, and that hatred doesn't do shit. Like you said, the Savage, he was back. It just, all this shows you is that he can't compete with the top level guys, just like I said. As soon as this dude step up and start to fight real competition, he's going to lose. And that's exactly what happened to him. And everybody make all these excuses, but yet he's not retiring. And yet all his fans are talking about how he need to retire. That's the excuse. The only reason he lost is because he's not the same. But then when he tells you he's coming back, oh, y'all applaud him. And, yo, we miss you, champ. Yo, boxing needs you. You know, he brings the excitement. He brings boxing to another level. How? Another level, like how? By beating who? Berman Stavern? Arthur Spilker? Gerald Washington beating that, like, you understand what I'm saying? So, when I, you know, hear people talking about hatred and anger, and you don't need all that. You know, that's almost like liquid courage to me. People got to get drunk, get some in their system, and then all of a sudden they tough. Yeah, you need it to psych yourself up. And that's one of the differences between Chris Eubanks Jr. and Connor. Chris was able to hold his composure and fight the tough fight and not fold at no point. There's a couple of times he got hit, caught big shots, and he came right back, and he was pushing dude back. He was punishing Connor on those ropes. He was making Connor fight back, and it got to the point that even though you could see Chris was tired, so was Connor. But Connor didn't know how to do anything other. He was just trying to just land something. He was just throwing. Chris wouldn't let him off. And bottom line is, Chris showed, I got more dog in me than you do. I have more dog. They thought, oh, he's 35 now. He's not going to be the same. He's going, you know, he's an old man. You know, he's going to be weight drained. He's going to burn out. He's going to gas out. And the younger, quicker, faster fighter is going to take over and win. That's what they thought. That's what they was hoping would happen. And bottom line is, you know, the better man won. So instead of kind of just accepting that shit, go back and look at the fight. And you know, hey, if y'all do it again, try to correct what you did wrong last time. But at the same fucking time, if you do exactly what I think you're gonna do, like I said, is you and Eddie start making bullshit excuses about stuff, and then talking about if the fight was as close as people said. It's like, I mean, what are you talking about, man? Now they want to play but Connor was the smaller man. You motherfuckers are the ones talking shit about the weight isn't gonna matter. You know, Connor has shown that he can handle the weight. All this shit y'all was talking completely different beforehand. So let's not start talking about the weight now. Let's stop making excuses. Chris Eubanks Jr. said Connor surprised him. He said he didn't even know that he really had that in him. And Chris said he know that he had it in him to fight the way he did. He just didn't think Connor would be the one to bring it out, but it was. And he needed it to be at his best, and Connor needed to be at his best. He complimented the fight itself. Okay? Connor did say that we always, you know, like we knew Chris, you know, Chris is a good fighter and this and that, whatever. But, you know, the excuses, man, like, we're not going to play this shit. We're not going to, look, let me tell you something about these fucking excuses. These excuses will redefine your character, and you will become the fighter nobody wants to see. Which, by the way, man, am I the only one? Every time I see Chris Eubanks Jr. with that fucking coat on, it just give me Coming to America vibes, man. James Earl Jones. But yeah, man. I'm King Jaffa. Yeah, but anyway, fucking yeah, man. I mean, it was a good fight, man. And look, when you look at trilogies, you look at people who just had great fights together. You guys had a very solid fight together, man. It was a good fight. Y'all fought hard. I feel like when you whine and cry about shit, you act like a baby, man. You act like, you make people want to see you lose at that point. People get to the point they don't even want to hear you. It's always an excuse. Connor is a very angry, bitter person, man. He can talk all the shit he wants. That dude got emotional issues, man. And, he like I said, he fueled himself off of hatred and anger, emotion, instead of skill. Because he was just trying to knock dude out. Go back. When you first watch something, people get all excited and all, but go back and watch it, you'll see. Go back and watch it again. He was throwing wild, sloppy shots. He was trying to knock dude out. He's trying to end it early, and he couldn't. Man, I'm watching, Chris Eubanks Jr. smile at him, laughing at him, working that jab, working off that jab, catching with them short chopping hooks and uppercuts. He was doing his thing, man. So like I said, I don't know how people talk about like the fight was that. Nah, it wasn't that close. It was a good fight, but like I said, I had Chris up by a far margin. So I don't know what the fuck fight everybody else was watching. Like talk about that shit was like neck and neck. It could have went either way. Really? Nah, not the fight I saw. But hey, man, look, Chris Eubanks Jr. won. I had people that was saying on other channels, people were saying shit like Connor was going to knock him out within 2 or 3 rounds. Chris is so overrated. Connor this, Connor that. I was giving Connor his props when people were sleeping on him. But at the same time, man, it's like you see, like certain fighters, you see the limitations, man. Now, after what Eddie Hearn said about, I don't want to see him with too many fights like that. See, this is my point. And people going to look at Connor. That's why I said, if you look down, Eddie's saying that, and look at Connor's career so far. Look at who Connor has fought so far. And this is exactly the point of what I'm saying, man. It's all about the money. You are our investment, and if you slow down, you go in and get knocked out, we lose money. We can't make money off you no more. Once you fall off, that's it. So let's put you in the easiest fights that we possibly can. And like I said, you don't have to fight a bigger man to get brain damage. You don't have to fight a bigger man and lose your life in that ring. But you was willing, and the thing about it, this is what I'm saying about Eddie Hearn saying that shit. He made himself look stupid. How the fuck you gonna sit here and say you're more concerned about Connor more so than Chris because Chris is naturally the bigger guy, which means he's saying that Chris's size and his power could do more damage to Connor. But you, just like all these other fuckers, and this was a situation where they knew that Connor popped dirty, but they were all willing to let the fight go on. So it's obvious you ain't give a fuck about Chris Eubanks Jr. at all. So how the fuck are you going to sit up here and say that and then sit there and talk about how you don't want Connor to have too many more fights like that? Yeah, that's why that motherfuckers talk about fighting goddamn Mario Barrios, because he don't want no parts of Jerron Boots in this. See, this is the type of thing. You got to pay attention to language, man. Listen to the shit that people say. Because these people are telling you. They're explaining themselves to you. And even when the fighter do want certain fights and the promoter is saying no, the fighter can be like, now fuck that. I'll fight Barrios because he has a belt, but I want Boots. See, when you make noise, but then you don't make the effort to actually make certain fights happen, then, like, how do you respond when people say, so what's the holdup? They always give you some indirect answer and act like they don't know, well, it's not on my end, I'm ready. Okay, well, what's happening? What's going on? They can't explain nothing to you about nothing. Who said what to who's in touch with who, and, it just becomes messy. This fight right here just showed you, like, one, against each other, it was a good fight. I think Boots will destroy Connor Benn. Mario Barrios and Connor Benn will probably be a good fight. But Mario Barrios isn't better than Boots. Not by a long shot. Chris Eubanks Jr., outside of fighting Connor, he has no reason to come in at 160, to be honest with you. I think he's better off at 68. I don't think he beats Canelo. But hey, man, in the sport of boxing, it's not about taking easy fights. It's about trying to be the best. If that's your goal, then yeah, you want the smoke with Canelo. Now, if you are just in a position where it doesn't matter who you fight, you can make big money because of who you are, you can also take that route. But if you do, you can't open your mouth talking about being one of the best fighters or being the best fighter. And at some point, I don't really think Chris Eubanks Jr. is like, I don't think he's stressed about boxing or anything. I think he's probably satisfied with life. I mean, we all have our ups and downs, good and bad that happens. But I think for Chris Eubanks Jr., that he looks at this like, I'm in a blessed position. I'm here and I'm just enjoying this. And, I do want bigger fights, but, it's not like he's hurting for money or anything like that. So I feel like for him, man, it's more enjoyable. Now, Connor, the dude, like I said, clearly has anger issues, man. He's not a pleasant person. He's always complaining, always frowning his face up, always angry, and always talking like the world is against him. So basically, all Chris Eubanks Jr. have to do is the same thing. He's the better technician. He's the better fighter between the two. Look at what happened. Pay attention to what he was doing, and he should beat Connor again if they fight again. To be honest with you, I told you, with his reach, his jab, and his boxing ability, that he should beat Connor Benn. Connor fought very desperate from round one to the last round. He fought that fight like, I have to fight this way. I have to come in and try to take his head off. That's the way he fought this fight. Like, he felt like that's what he had to do. But, the fight went the way I thought it would. It went just the way I thought it would. That he was going to come in there trying to take off Chris Eubanks' head. And Chris was going to be poised and was going to be the one to stick to his game plan and execute it and win the fight on points. Like I said, he possibly could stop him. Not that he can't or couldn't, didn't have the power or nothing, but like I said, Chris liked to box, and he has no problem with outboxing you. If the knockout come, cool, but if it don't, and that's the way Chris, how he's always been. So, man, it was a good fight, man. But, Connor, I feel like he's already, like, making these excuses up, and he's going to just get to the point, like I said, he's going to rub everybody the wrong way, man, because, whenever you're in the ring, and once again, for all you Floyd haters, just saying, Floyd figured you out in the first fight. Floyd figured you out and shut you down. Okay, I see what you're doing. Connor didn't try to do anything different. He just kept trying to just be faster and be first. He just kept, like, his times, like, he was throwing, the right hand over Chris Eubanks Jr. jab, because Chris doesn't snap his jab. He just kind of like pauses it, kind of like puts it out there. He doesn't snap it quick. Now, if he watched the video back and he fights again, he can see he need to snap his jab. You need to throw that shit with some pop on it, man. And basically, because Connor is really much faster than Chris, he was able to get some shots in, but he was getting caught with shots. And the thing was, Chris was throwing punches we didn't expect him to. So, yeah, man, and Chris turned up. Chris closed the show the right way. He turned up, and he was punishing dude on those ropes. He was making him miss and make him pay. And every time he pushed him back, he punched him on those ropes. He wasn't letting him get off the hook. And, he wouldn't let Connor back him up to the ropes. He was basically like, there was like a stalemate type of thing. So even when he would move back, it was more of a lateral movement, more, not running back, trying to avoid the shots. He was, stepping around. He was ducking a lot, moving, his head from side to side. And, yeah, man, the bigger man fought at close quarters, and he beat Connor at his own fucking game. And what he did is he kept behind the jab, and he was using it and making Connor hesitant to come in. So Connor didn't know how to come in other than lunging. And it's like I said, man, the skills go to Chris. But now that we got the verdict, everybody see it, And, hey, man, salute to both of them for coming to do what they had to do. But salute to Chris Eubanks Jr. and his dad, man. It was good to see them together. Keep y'all family business off the internet, man. People don't need to know what's going on, man. Y'all should love each other, man. neither one of y'all gonna be here forever, and that's none of us. You know, I lost my mom, my dad is still here. And, you know, family love, man, ain't nothing can replace that. Anyway, talk to me in the comment section, y'all. Tell me what y'all think. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.